This is your source for genre news, album reviews, and commentary on all things heavy. The Metal Pod. Here are your hosts, Brendan Flum and George Fong.
The Metal Pod, episode 5, back and better than ever. I got my Slayer South of Heaven shirt on, the Supreme collab with Slayer. I don't like capitalism too much. My brother gifted this shirt to me, so I didn't buy it. But yeah, man, South of Heaven. That's where I'm going.
Fair enough, man. It's pretty metal.
What do you got?
This is my Rush shirt. As you know, Rush was, I don't know how much I've told you I've liked them, but when I was a kid, they were like literally my favorite band. Mm-hmm. So I had literally like 20 different Rush shirts. But I realized when Neil Peart died this year, they were all way too small for me.
So you still have them?
Oh, I still have them. They just don't fit.
I need you to wear one of those to the next one.
Like the sleeve would go up to here.
Yes.
It would be ridiculous.
Perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, I bought this one from their website when he died because I obviously wanted one that fit. So rest in peace.
Right. Sweet.
Yeah. Metal news?
Let's do it.
All right. I guess first thing, kind of exclusive right here. I've got a text message right here from George Fong himself, who texted me over the weekend. Verbatim, it says, Pantera might be better than Lamb of God.
There was an asterisk in there that he failed to mention, folks.
There was, but that's beside the point. And the fact is, he admitted it, ladies and gentlemen. Pantera is the superior groove metal band from the man himself. The guy who defended Lamb of God now turns on them and joins the dark side. Thank you, kind sir.
No, if anything, Pantera's the light side.
Fine.
Lamb of God's the dark side.
Well, I don't care. It's fine either way.
The reason that I said they might be better, might is the key word here.
But I never said Lamb of God might be better because they're not. So.
I should have known you were going to bring this shit up.
I had to, man.
I said that Pantera might be better. Lamb of God is still my favorite. I'll defend Lamb of God against Pantera.
All right, fair enough.
We don't have to hash this out. That's it.
We'll
leave it at that.
No, if I recall, the argument was who's the better groove metal band, and you said Pantera might be better. So I just wanted to say that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just had to get it out there.
This might come up again.
Maybe, but probably
Maybe you'll
not.
change your mind. Maybe one day you'll text me and say Lamb of God might be better.
Maybe, but probably not.
What if they put out 10 more Ashes of the Wake? Then would you admit that they're better?
No. Pantera is frozen in time, in the best way possible. So.
That's just not true. You can't be frozen in time.
Welcome to episode 4.5, where we.
Let's move on. Metal news. What you got?
Yeah, metal news. All right. I think the talk of the town in the metal community over the past week has been about pop superstar, not superstar, new on the scene, up and coming new artist Doja Cat, who I admittedly barely heard of before this week, but apparently at the MTV Europe Music Video Awards, she performed her hit song. Is it called "So Far Away"? Does that sound right?
I don't know that one.
All right, something like that. Anyways, the original has like hundreds of millions of views on YouTube.
Okay.
So I guess it's pretty popular. But at these awards, she metalized it and performed it live with a backing band that looked like they had like corpse paint on, and like she made it kind of metal. I wouldn't call it heavy, but it was definitely better than most pop out there. And
she's an R&B hip hop singer.
Yeah, I don't know much, honestly.
Yeah. No, she's an R&B hip hop singer. I like a lot of her songs. She's also a very attractive young lady. Doja Cat, if you're watching, please sponsor us.
Please.
I like a lot of her songs. She's pretty good. She had some controversy because apparently she was in 4chan chat rooms. Do you know what that is?
I do not.
4chan is a message board on the internet that is anonymous.
Okay.
And it deletes after 24 hours.
Okay.
Everything gets deleted off the message board, so you can imagine the type of content that gets posted on there.
Absolutely.
And apparently she was on this platform in chat rooms with white supremacists and taking her clothing off. And she apologized later about this. And she said, it's just my f***ed up sense of humor as to why I did that. And the Twitter community totally jumped on her.
Yeah, that's pretty funny, I guess. I don't know what to make of that. I have no idea.
That's kind of who she is. But yeah, cool, good for her. I'm glad she did something different. She's she plays around with her like visual aesthetic a lot.
It was a cool performance.
Yeah.
There was lots of, how do I explain? There was it was like she was playing in a garden and there was like a moon. It was cool. You should definitely check it out.
When was that?
Over the last weekend, I think, maybe. Okay. I don't really know, but
you enjoyed it.
It was cool, and it's another example of these modern pop and rap artists kind of. I mean, Post Malone's an obvious example of a guy he likes rock a lot, and he admits it, and he's trying to put that more into his music, which I respect. I mean, metal's obviously an open community, and we'll welcome anybody. So, fair enough. Welcome to the community, Doja Cat.
Glad to have you.
Yeah. On more metal, not quite metal, but Alice Cooper announced his new solo album, which is coming out next February. Typically, I would be like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. But this one's called Detroit Stories, and it's all Detroit themed because he's from Detroit, obviously. And he said all the songs are inspired by personal stories of his growing up in Detroit. So
interesting.
Yeah, looks pretty cool.
So a lot of you Michigan listeners out there might relate to that. So it's pretty cool.
I haven't listened to a new Alice Cooper album since like 2008 or something. Whenever Along Came a Spider came out, because there was a bunch of cool guests on that one. But this one I'm definitely gonna listen to for Detroit.
Dope.
In other new music news, I guess nothing too official, but Clown from Slipknot said this week that they've been pretty busy writing new music during quarantine. So
cool.
Hopefully we won't have to wait as long for a new album compared to past years. I mean, I think the longest span was 6 years between All Hope Is Gone and Chapter 5. So,
right.
Hopefully it's sooner than that. And I guess, I don't know if you've heard about... they were supposed to release this year, I don't know if they're still doing it, a bunch of outtakes from the All Hope Is Gone sessions.
I did not hear about that.
They said it's supposed to be like Slipknot meets Radiohead kind of thing. It's more like not the Slipknot that you would expect kind of thing.
I mean, that's interesting. Not too big of a fan of All Hope Is Gone, but their worst album. But
you think All Hope Is Gone is their worst album?
For sure.
For sure?
Yeah. But I mean, I would listen to it. The outtakes.
Yeah.
I mean, but the outtakes from their worst album is what I'm pointing out.
Right. I think it might just be more of like an EP kind of thing. I don't really know. And like I said, I don't know if they're really doing that anymore. That's just something I heard.
Right. I'd like to see Slipknot's next album really impress me. I wasn't blown away by their last one.
Mm-hmm. We Are Not Your Kind?
Yes.
Okay.
I liked it, and I liked the singles off of it, but it was a little bit more experimental.
Yeah.
Definitely, for my taste.
Right.
And at Chicago Open Air, they kept playing Unsainted, like the chorus of it.
Oh my God.
In between the concerts. And at the end, I was like, I don't want to hear Corey Taylor's voice for the rest of this year.
I know. It's funny because that song obviously came out right before the open air weekend.
Right.
And
they just...
Oh my God, dude, yeah. Played it. That's
nonstop.
My 1 hot minute, actually. It's kind of related to this, so...
Like, every 3 commercials was that song. Just the hook.
I know. It was ridiculous. And on the road trip, me and my dad, I was like, this might be my favorite Slipknot song. Because, I mean, it was brand new when it came out, so I was super excited. And it was on the radio only a couple times, so I was like, this is good. They're not overplaying it too much.
And then you left open air like, fuck this song.
Yeah, dude, it was brutal. But,
yeah.
I mean, it's a great song, obviously.
Yeah.
But the way I describe We Are Not Your Kind, it's like, as they've described as well, it's like Volume 3 meets Iowa in a way. It's heavy yet experimental at the same time.
Yeah, I could see that comparison.
Yeah, and the good songs are really good, but then like the bad songs are really bad.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Like Spiders, My Pain.
You don't like Spiders?
Spiders all right. My Pain, not a huge fan whatsoever. But overall, great album.
Sure.
So yeah. Last piece of metal news. Ticketmaster, the evil empire Ticketmaster. I'm not afraid to express my hatred towards them.
I'm sure many would agree with you, Trent Reznor.
Oh yeah.
Rage.
Yeah. Pearl Jam, everybody.
Yeah.
But they said that when concerts do come back from COVID, this is at least something they're exploring, trying to figure out right now. They said it's going to require a negative test and a vaccination to buy a ticket to a concert.
That sounds good to me. I mean,
that's fine, yeah.
Fine with that. If I get to go to a concert.
Yeah, whatever it takes, man. Yeah. I don't care at this point.
Right.
But just wanted to bring that up, obviously.
I mean, when did they say?
So originally when COVID hit, they said concerts wouldn't be back until fall of 21 at the earliest.
For sure. That's wishful thinking.
That sounds like wishful thinking. I don't know, but like I said, many artists have concerts planned for like spring and summer of 21.
That might not happen, dude. And if it does, it might be bad. You know, like
it could be. Yeah.
It's a group of like thousands of people.
Yeah. But at the same time, I've been seeing concerts during quarantine. Like, not me personally. Like, I've been, like, seeing videos of concerts. Like, probably breaking all of the guidelines in effect. Probably. I don't really know. But major artists that we like have been doing no concerts except for live streams.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine by me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure.
We'll see if Biden can pull it together. Biden, we need you. Pull it together, please.
Yes. The U.S. government, do all you can to bring concerts back. That's priority number one. Yeah. Yeah. So very excited to welcome our first ever guests here on the Metal Pod, the Hourz O Power crew, co-hosts Lilith and Hellspawn, and their nameless intern, referred to as Bones. Thank you guys for coming on the show. How you guys doing?
We're doing great.
All right. Good. I guess we'll get right into it. I see you're all wearing a variety of metal shirts there. We always start our episodes with our shirt stories. As you can see, we got some band tees on as well. So Lilith, what shirt you rocking today?
I've actually got the Slipknot shirt on from their, I want to say, 2016 concert when they toured with Marilyn Manson and, oh shoot, I forgot the other person. But it's from like the second concert I ever went to, so it's an old way.
Yeah, that was a good tour. I think me and George were both there as well. So
yeah,
it was good, real good right there. Hellspawn, how about you?
I got a Weakling shirt on. They're a black metal band that this is their only album. It's from 2000. They're American. That's kind of strange for some black metal fans, but Weakling is the band. Members of that band were also in great bands such as Asunder, which is a cool like funeral doom band. Awesome. But I just really like Weakling, great black metal.
Great, yeah. Well, I'll have to check them out. George, he's been trying to get me more into black metal. He's the black metal guy on the show.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We'll definitely check that out. Bones, how about you?
This is I don't know if it's really showing up, but this is my Megadeth Countdown to Extinction shirt. I actually bought this online because I had tickets to go see them this summer, and obviously that didn't work out, and so I was like, well shit, I'm still gonna get my t-shirt out of it. And I mean they're definitely one of my favorite bands, and this is a great album, so I just kind of like representing.
Yeah, sure is, man. Me and George have been talking a lot about how that's probably the concert we're both in agreement of. We're most bummed that got.
Yeah, it was like Lamb of God and Trivium too.
Yeah, and it claims it was going to be sweet, so that really sucks. But looking forward to it next year if it happens.
Yeah,
and that's a great album, of course. So I guess we can get right into it. Since you guys are our first guests, we're going to be doing this with all of our guests because we thought it would be the most fun for them, and that is just telling us your background into metal. So I guess Lilith, how'd you get into metal?
So actually, it's kind of not a conventional story because I'm not technically like a metalhead, I guess. But I got into it starting in middle school with the band Hollywood Undead, which they're not really that metal, but it kind of just went like not downhill, but like further in.
Right.
And I really started getting into like metal itself more than alternative rock in freshman year of college when I joined the show. So
Nice.
it's been a weird transition.
Yeah, Hollywood and Dead is a good starter band like that for sure. So
They're so good.
they have some bangers for sure.
Oh yeah.
Hellspawn, how about you?
I think I just sort of transitioned into listening to heavier and heavier stuff starting in like 7th or 8th grade. I liked rock all my life. Probably the first metal band that I was really into was Metallica as a, younger kid in, 5th grade or so. But then I remember I think in 8th grade, I first heard the band Death. I heard their first album, Scream Bloody Gore, and I thought it was like the most extreme thing I'd ever heard, and it was like really scary music. I was pretty into that. And then sort of at that same time, I started getting into like the band Death Heaven in particular, and they introduced a lot of black metal to me, and noise music as well.
Yep.
But Death would definitely be the original sort of heavy music impetus group for me.
Absolutely. And I think there's a song on Scream Bloody Gore called Baptized in Blood.
Indeed.
Yeah, I found that at a relatively young age too, and I was like, Jesus, this is pretty intense stuff. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's good. Bones, how'd you get into metal?
I got into metal, I guess younger than both of these two, which I didn't know. But when I was really little, I had a CD player in my room, and we would just kind of play like whatever music there was around the house. But my dad had a CD of And Justice for All, and I would like borrow that all the time and just listen to that album like over and over when I was really young. And I was also really into Guitar Hero, like the really popular one that came out when I was like 5. And there was like some Slayer and Metallica songs in there. And I got really into like Iron Maiden and Metallica and Van Halen especially when I was super young.
Rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some similar influences there, so that's cool. Guitar Hero is how a lot of kids our age got into this kind of thing. So absolutely. I guess next question for you guys, kind of broader though, but like Lilith, what do you like about metal?
Ooh, that's a good question. For me personally, I find it like a really great way to just like feel emotions. It's a very like emotional set of music, and you can kind of find something that like fits everyone. I always tell everyone like there's a metal genre for you because there's just so much variety, and it's really just it's fun. Like I don't know, the concerts are fun, the music's fun, and it's heavy, and I like heavy, so it's just good.
Yeah, I'd say the concerts are probably the funnest out of all music genres, in my opinion. Yeah, who doesn't want to mosh? Who doesn't want to like? Who doesn't want to like break their neck headbanging through the score for the next 3 days and like?
Exactly. Who doesn't want to get run over by the crowd? Like.
Exactly. There's nothing better. Hellspawn, what do you like about metal?
I think I like the inclusiveness of it a lot, like the willingness to experiment with all sorts of different types of genres and the openness to other types of music as well. It's not I see a metal as a not elitist genre, like it's a very welcoming thing, like whether you're a little kid or something, metal, true metal fans are very open to new ideas and stuff like that. I really like that about metal, the willingness to experiment and bring in new ideas.
Yeah, and we've talked about elitism,
Yes.
Obviously black metal being the most elitist subgenre of metal for various reasons. But yeah, that's what I said. I said, metal is like a niche community. When you meet another metalhead, you know exactly, where they come from and how, like, yeah, just everything like that. So.
Yeah, that's obviously one of the great calling cards of metal. Bones, how about you? What do you like about metal?
There's something about like any good metal song that you can't really break down into like music theory or rhythm or anything. That's just like it's either gonna make you headbang or it's not. And when it does, you kind of just like lock into that like groove, and you can kind of feel like the rhythm, whether it's like super thrashy or if it's like a doom metal song. And I just really like how it's kind of like how funk music makes people dance, but like a good metal groove will just kind of make you be like, yeah, like that's dirty.
That's a good way to put it, actually.
Absolutely. And me and him were just talking about this last week. I don't know if you guys are Korn fans, but they
Yes.
good. Korn, Jonathan Davis, their singer, has described them more so as a funk band than a metal band, and that's kind of fair. They've got that groove, like you were talking about, Bones. I mean, they're absolutely filthy, and they make people want to dance. So it's good stuff.
They're also catchy too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hardcore dancing, absolutely moshing.
That you hardcore dance?
Oh yeah,
You like to windmill?
yeah. I'm not a good windmill guy.
Oh no, the karate in the pit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not my style of moshing.
Yeah,
but,
no, not me either, TBH. But
yeah. Speaking of Korn, though, that's one of my favorite metal artists. Sarah, though, who are your favorite metal artists?
Ooh, okay. So if we're gonna do like actually metal artists and not like Hollywood Undead and alternative rock, I really like Deaf Heaven. House Bonds played a lot of their stuff on the radio, and it's catchy. And I like Pallbearer, Weed Eater, and then like Big Four and Iron Maiden. Personally, lately a lot of Devil Driver. Their new album, I liked it a lot. I thought it was cute. So.
Oh, cute metal album.
Yeah, their new metal album. I was like, oh, that's cute.
me, when I listen to Baby Metal, like, oh, this is cute.
Yeah, it's just like, oh.
That's hilarious. Jay, who are your favorite metal artists?
It's hard to pick for sure, but some of the ones that I always come back to are Emperor, good black metal band. Black Sabbath always is a staple for me as one of the classic groups.
Yeah.
Who else? I mean, I do like Deaf Heaven a lot. They're one of my favorites. Bell Witch is another modern group that I really like a lot. Doom band. And then that's a few of my favorites.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And then it's funny that you mentioned Emperor. They're one of my favorites as well. And one of the things that specifically, like, not just Brendan, but like a lot of people get turned off by their vocals. Brendan doesn't really like their vocals that much, but I really like that vocal style.
Yeah, I love the music of black metal, but some of the lyrics, the vocals, Emperor being one of them. It's something about it's just not my style. It's not for everyone, as we said, but the music is awesome. So there's a special place for bands like Emperor for me. So
they're a good one to start with for sure because of the like classical music influence and stuff. Real melodic, because there's plenty of really atonal black metal as well, but Emperor is a great melodic one.
Yeah,
agreed.
That's fair. Jack, who are your favorite metal artists?
I mean, I guess people would say like, oh, they're like super popular, like bandwagon or whatever. But I've always been to like very classic metal bands. So like, I had a huge Ozzy phase for a few years when I was in like middle school, and Big Four, especially Megadeth. Not exactly metal, but I've been a huge Rush fan for a while. Yeah. And just Black Sabbath, Van Halen, Motley Crue, Maiden, that kind of stuff. Like, I've been getting more into like heavier thrash lately, but I would say that my main genres are more just like thrash, classic metal, and like hair metal.
Good stuff, man. We've also talked about how on one of the episodes he brought up how someone told him that a band like Pantera, who's like my all-time favorite, someone once described them as a pleb tier band. Explain all this because I don't even remember.
Yeah, I mean, it was on Reddit, so you can imagine where that conversation went. But it's like, you can like or dislike a band, obviously. That's subjective. But it's like, how are you going to call a band that you at one point listened to, right? If you're so far beyond the point to where you're listening to these like the most underground metal, like obviously at some point you probably listened to Pantera and liked them, and that's where a lot of people start with metal. And it's like, there's basically my point with that was like, you shouldn't. There's no point in being elitist because when you welcome in like new metal fans, that just means we're gonna have better music, more friends, more people to talk to metal with, and all that stuff. So, and what Brendan said was, it doesn't make them any less heavy just because they're popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people act like once they start to move into like less popular bands that they're like more mature than the bands they used to listen to. But like, you know, Metallica's popular for a reason because they're still a metal band. They still make some heavy songs, and like you can still like the really popular bands that brought you into it and not look down on it just because they're bringing other people in. Like, you know, these like gateway bands are still just as metal as any other bands. They just happen to like have gotten popular, whether it's just by like luck or just they had like a really breakthrough album.
Absolutely. Well said, my friend.
I think the resentment towards bands getting popular in metal is it's an annoying thing as well. Like, and you know, another thing you see on Reddit, you know, like people that are upset that their favorite band has started to get, you know, some semblance of success. It's like the stupidest thing. Like, why would you not be happy for your favorite group when people start to listen to them?
Yeah, a lot of the people are like, oh, I can't believe, you know, everyone these days listens to pop. But then anytime something, you know, metal gets popular, then they suddenly wish that it wasn't popular. It's like, wouldn't you rather have more people be exposed to the thing that you like and so you can sort of have more people to talk about it with? I don't understand why that's a bad thing.
I feel like there's a whole thing about being like exclusive sometimes within metal. Like it's like we're a very like exclusive community sometimes. And I think that attitude kind of like stops from like sharing, you know, like at the end of the day, it's metal, guys. Like let's do a stadium mosh pit. Like that's okay.
Great way to put it.
Yeah, that goes along with what Hellspawn was saying about the inclusiveness of metal. Like, we welcome all.
Yeah, like we're for everybody. We're not, you know.
Exactly.
A true metal fan recognizes somebody who has a lot of enthusiasm for Anthrax just as much as somebody who, you know, like loves Scaff or some metal band you've never heard of.
Exactly.
Yeah, I also like, especially because my music taste is very much like a lot of these more popular bands and like less like super hardcore. I've had a lot of people say like, oh, you know, that's just like you haven't really gotten into the harder stuff yet, as if it's like a natural progression that everyone goes through. And I do get that a lot of people go from the more popular, like, you know, maybe Ozzy or Black Sabbath, and then go into like death metal, black metal, everything. But like I've been listening to these bands for probably like at least 15 years now. And it's not because I haven't heard more extreme stuff. I'm just not super into that kind of stuff. I've gotten into death and I've gotten into a few of the more extreme bands, but it's just like that's where my preferences lie. And it's not just because they haven't like been refined yet.
Right.
Exactly. And we've been throwing out a bunch of subgenres right here. So I guess the next question to ask you guys, Lilith, what are your favorite metal subgenres?
Ooh, I definitely like a lot of the like sludgier stuff. So like sludge is definitely one of them. Doom. I also have a soft spot for like mellow death. And I do like thrash, especially like big four thrash. And I do like death metal sometimes. It depends on the album more for me for death metal, but I do like the overall like mosh quality. And then I also like atmospheric black a lot. That one's just nice for like chilling. And I find it's a good intro one because everyone always thinks metal is like screaming and like harsh vocals. And I'm like, no, let me show you power metal and atmospheric black. And then you tell me if it's still like screaming.
Exactly. And Hellspawn, I know that you like black metal too, but what are your other favorite subgenres?
Yeah, I thought I'd leave my favorite subgenre, or at least my identity on the radio show, is probably for death metal. Okay. So I thought I'd leave those bands out of my favorite groups so I could talk about them here. Yeah, death metal is probably the genre that I'm most into as far as metal goes because it's the one I got into earliest and it's the one that I've delved the deepest into. You know, I'm constantly plumbing the depths of the internet for new demos and stuff to listen to. But like my name on the radio show was a Morbid Angel song that the previous host knew that I loved a lot. So that's probably the number one. Bands like Spectral Voice and stuff I'm super into. Yeah, death metal is my niche.
Awesome. Bones, I know you like the classic stuff like I do. What
Yeah.
other subgenres are you into?
I'd say classic, progressive. Like I'm big fan of like Dream Theater, Arch Echo, like that kind of stuff. And then main thing is thrash. So like Big Four, especially Overkill. What's the one? Sodom. So what's the one? I've been listening to like a few more lately. I just kind of like throw a ton of music in a playlist and then I'll like shuffle it and I'll take stuff out if I don't like it. But I found that's a really good way of like getting into stuff. So like Exodus and Testament and Creator and all these other bands. Like I really like the really fast, like intense thrash. Like whether or not it's screaming vocals. But I remember like in middle school when I started to go from like the thrashy like early Metallica and then got into Slayer. And I was like, whoa, like I didn't even know you could play this fast and do like these really tight rhythmic like patterns where it's just really just sharp and like percussive. I really like that stuff, like 200 beats per minute more. Love some thrash.
Absolutely, as do we. So we're both very glad that you said that.
Yeah.
I guess on that note, what I'm going to ask all you guys this, but Lilith, what is the best metal concert you have ever seen?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
It is very tough.
I think, can I rate it as like best mosh pit and then best like concert overall? Okay, so the concert that had one of the best mosh pits I've ever been in was probably the Weed Eater one. And I don't know if we're allowed to mention that there was stuff going around at the concert because of what the band's name is. But that mosh pit was just like spot on. Everyone was just having a grand time. And I didn't get knocked over, so that was nice. Because that happens. And then like showmanship wise, I think one of the better ones I've been to was the Slipknot one. Just they had the rotating drums going.
Oh yeah.
And they had like all the like gross pictures, and it was a great show.
Yes, absolutely. Slipknot. Even if you don't like metal, I think Slipknot is a band that everyone must see before they die, just for a live aspect. So.
For sure. If you like Metallica, would probably be good too, but I have not been able to see them.
Hey, that's fine. There's still lots of time. Hopefully, when all this COVID shit is over, we can start going back to some. Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully, they do another farewell tour.
Hopefully. Hellspawn, best concert you've ever seen.
Oh man, when I was a freshman in college, I rode the bus out to Max Bar to go see Spectral Voice play with Primitive Man.
Wow.
Nice.
That was a really good show. Spectral Voice played with they made them turn all the lights off in the bar, and then they had like 2 candles, and that was all and the candles went out as soon as they played a note because of the amps extinguished them. So it was just like total darkness, this super crazy band going nuts, and that's probably the best because you just couldn't see barely anything. And one of my most favorite bands just going off. And then I also saw that same year, I went to see Mayhem, and that's like, that was a great, like their showmanship was unlike anything I've seen. I haven't been to a lot of like really big arena shows that have a lot of, presentation behind them, but Mayhem sort of had that kind of vibe, and it was awesome.
Yeah, Hellspawn, I don't know if you remember this, but the first time I ever met you was in Story Sound in Motion with Joel, and you were wearing a Mayhem shirt, and Joel like walked up to you and was like, "Are you the guy on Hours of Power that plays all that heavy grindcore shit?"
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was sweet.
That was quite the life affirming moment for me when this professor that we had for Story Sound in Motion, this like intro to film class, was like recognized me as dude from the radio who's like playing Carcass and Merzbow and noise music on the radio.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I saw your Mayhem shirt and I was like, okay, this guy knows a thing or two about metal, so that's good. Bones, what is the best metal concert you've ever seen?
I actually haven't been to that many like metal concerts outside of like my friends' bands back home. I mean, I saw Tom Morello this past year. Like, he was doing like solo stuff, but he played a lot of Rage songs and a lot of like, his own like Atlas Underground songs and everything.
Sure.
But I mean, I know it's not metal, but I went to see Rush. I've seen him 3 times. And every time it was like such an experience because there's not exactly a mosh pit. It's a very it's a lot of an older audience, especially a very sort of like geeky audience. But like the experience of seeing them, like they have pyrotechnics and there's some of the most incredible musicians I've ever seen. And I was like, I was really sad after Neil died this year, but I was also like, I'm so glad that I got to see him like every time that I did because it was like a mosh pit in my brain every time they would play. Like they didn't mess up at all. They were super tight. It was like loud, and they have some of the best like it's the way that Rush plays their music. It's like the bass isn't really a rhythmic instrument. It goes back and forth between like syncing with the drums, and then it goes like up and down with the guitars, and it kind of like weaves its own rhythm into the song. And it's like, it's so great to see live how they just sort of like formed this song from like three completely different playing styles.
Exactly. And Rush is one of those like very rare bands where the bass is as prominent as the rest of it, which is awesome. And that speaks, like you said, to their talent. Neil Peart, in my opinion, was the best drummer who ever lived. I don't know if you want to say anything about that, but I know many people thought that, and I've met people who will say John Bonham, but to me, it's Neil Peart. So.
Yeah, John Bonham can play fast, but Neil Peart can really, really play with the song. Like, I played drums for probably like close to 10 or 11 years now, and I would like learn as many Rush songs as I could. Like, I remember I spent like 6 hours in one day trying to learn subdivisions and stuff. It's like I was a huge Neil fan, and yeah, like he really just knew how to use the drums as more than just like a rhythm sometimes. Like his fills were almost melodic with like how much he used the whole kit.
Yeah.
Roto toms.
Yeah. Well, it's also like Rush isn't really a metal band, but you ask like any of the big metal bands, especially like the older ones like Metallica and Megadeth, it's like all of them were influenced by Rush.
Exactly.
Like even a lot of existing ones now. Like Rush is a band that like almost all big musicians say like, yeah, I was really into that, or like they inspired me.
Exactly. Their influence is massive, and as you said, that speaks to their talent as musicians. And you said you're not going to mosh at a Rush concert, but when they play YYZ, dude, the crowd is moshing. Like that song is metal as fuck. So I mean,
yeah. They do have some like heavier songs. I mean, like heavier compared to the rest of their discography, but especially like "Stick It Out" or like the Anarchists, like some of the stuff from the newer album was pretty heavy.
Yeah, exactly. So I like to give them credit where it's due. I've talked about them a good amount on this podcast. So I'm glad someone sees eye to eye with me.
Yeah.
Thank you. I guess I can ask you guys now. This one's probably directed more so at Lilith because I know you've been the host and Hellspawn. You guys have been the co-host at Hourz for years now. And just for the people who are watching this who don't know a whole lot about the Hourz O Power, just tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, for sure. So Hellspawn, I'm sure you can probably add in whatever I missed because I'm not that good at giving summaries. But pretty much Hourz O Power is a heavy metal show. I think it's one of the only ones in Michigan, at least according to our former hosts before us. And we play pretty much every subgenre out there, pretty much any band. We love to review music, and we'll play new stuff, little bands. Like everyone deserves a spot on radio, kind of, if you're good. And we want to just like share that with the world and share heavy metal because we need more happiness like that.
Absolutely. Hellspawn, you got anything to add there?
Yeah, not much. That's good summary. It's just 4 hours of heavy music mostly. We usually feature an album every week. I guess I should mention that.
Yeah,
that's kind of a strange thing for radio to play a full album over the course of a 4-hour period. We used to be able to play it front to back, but we can't do that anymore. That's kind of sad. But
technically we can if I plan
okay, we go back to that? Cool.
If I plan it right so it transitions between 2 hours, yeah.
Oh yeah, we just have to straddle it over an hour mark. But yeah, anything that's I play a lot of metal related stuff too that's not necessarily a metal band. Like I played Xanadu by Rush last year, like because I love Rush too. But I play a lot of stuff that's like metal adjacent because I I like all sorts of different types of music. So if there's a band that has like a metal influence, but you might not necessarily call them a super heavy band, I might play a song or two from that. But then I also play, really extreme stuff for most of the time. And I think Lilith would say the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you guys have been the co-host now for 3 years, right? Yeah. Bones, how long have you been a part of ours?
Only the last year. So I'm in like my second year of school. I found out about it completely by accident. Like I made a post on Reddit like looking for bandmates at MSU, and I met my friend Matt, who's a guitarist. And so we were like jamming, playing some Metallica songs. He's like, "Oh, you got to check out this radio station that my friend Lilith works at." I mean, he didn't call her Lilith, but whatever. And so he brings me in one day, and I was like, "Whoa, holy shit! Like this is super cool." Because I'm a big metalhead, and I suddenly find out that the university doesn't advertise this as much, but there's like this whole metal like little cult radio station that they play 4 hours of metal every week. And I think it's really cool that they do a feature of these like smaller bands. So if you're listening, you get like a it's like what, like maybe 4 or 5 songs from one band all in a row. So you can kind of just find out about smaller artists. And it's like, all these, like a lot of other genres of music have their own radio station. There's usually like a classic rock and all this other stuff. It's like metal should be represented. It's a pretty big genre.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Lilith and Hellspawn, if you remember, I shadowed Hours for a little bit when I was a freshman. I'm a senior now, but yeah. I specifically remember the episode that I shadowed. You guys had a drummer from, I can't recall which band it was, but you like actually had the musicians in the studio, and I just thought that was so cool.
I think that was Kingdom of Ends? Hellspawn, I don't know, am I right?
Yeah. That was the Kingdom of Ends drummer.
Yeah.
They're a local band.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, I just thought it was awesome that you guys like have these metal musicians on the show, because like that's what it's all about right there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I guess next question is this: how did you guys like really get? Because Hours, of course, is a weekly radio show on Impact 89 FM. How did you guys really get involved with Impact? Was it like straight to Hours? Is that how you found out about it?
So the way I found out was I went to Sparticipation, and a girl on my floor who is also sort of a metalhead, she told me there's this like radio station that plays alternative music, and I like hunted out Impact, and then I found them and I was like, "Are you sure you play alternative? Are you sure this is like alternative music? Like it's not just regular music?" And then they found out that I liked like heavy stuff, and they were like, "Oh, well, why don't you join Hours?" And I was like, okay. And then 4 years later, here we are.
There you go. Hellspawn, I know when I was shadowing, at least, you weren't. I had never heard you talk on Hours until not too long ago. When did you like actually become a speaking DJ on the show?
I started when I was a freshman,
okay. But
because of my reticence to talk to people, I guess, pretty reclusive dude. There's been periods where I haven't been speaking on the radio, just picking music, but I've been doing it since October of freshman year.
Right.
All the previous hosts of the show were leaving, like they were graduating. So I had joined the Impact just as a fixed DJ, which is just like a training position for any people who aren't affiliated with the Impact. But then one time when I was leaving my shift, like maybe my second or third time going, this guy I'd never seen before, like stopped me in the hallway because I had a Morbid Angel shirt on. And he was like, "You like Morbid Angel, right? You want to come run a metal show for us?" And it was Spaceman, one of the previous DJs of the Hours, who he was like, just saw me in the hallway and thought that I would be a good member of the show. And then I joined up, and pretty quickly, because they were all like trying to apply to grad school, they were just having me run the show for most of my freshman year. And then I kind of handed it off to Lilith at the beginning of our second year, and she runs more of it now.
Nice. I know, Bones, you're referred to as the nameless intern, and I know that's kind of an Hours thing. like I still don't even really understand how that works because, well, is there like a process of going from nameless intern to like DJ on the hours? Like, what's really going on?
Not really. I was just like, for the first few weeks, I was just kind of hanging out there. Like we'd sort of like hang out in the studio or in the recording room, and then eventually, Sarah was just like, "Hey, do you want to like help do the show stuff?" And I was like, "Okay." And so, I'd add a lot of songs that I liked personally, and then, a lot of the time when it would come on the radio, and then there would be a speaking break, she would be like, "Oh, and that was a song picked by our nameless intern." And I guess just like that's just how I'm referred to, because I would just do like behind the scenes stuff, programming the songs, but I don't really speak on the radio because I'm not like a full DJ yet.
You'd be a nameless DJ.
It could be a nameless DJ.
Could adapt it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bones, you didn't have a name until Hellspawn just gave you one right before we started.
I mean, yeah.
I've been dubbed.
Yeah, you've been dubbed.
Yeah, I guess last big question for you guys. We always like to have like a kind of theme here on the Metal Pod, whether that be, we had a Halloween episode, politics episode for the election, and then now you guys joining us. You're hosting a radio station, and radio and metal, I mean, kind of help each other in a lot of ways. I mean, how do you view, starting with you, Lilith, how do you view the role of radio in metal?
I think radio has a great way to like share music, because at least we share a lot of like the little bands, the smaller guys, and I think it's a great way to kind of just get exposed without really having to like look, like seek it out, because it's there. And I think a lot of radio like in the 80s and stuff like that, like Metallica and Iron Maiden, that kind of like that was what they played. And I think there's a whole big push to go back kind of like to vinyl, at least in metal, and like more of the older way of doing things, because it's very like classic and aesthetic. So I think it's like metal and radio is just kind of something that will always be together in some form.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Absolutely. Hellspawn?
Yeah, as much as radio is sort of a dwindling format, I think with the advent of like streaming the radio station online, it hopefully will keep it relevant, because radio is like a form of curation, like for people, obviously with the internet, anybody can find anything if they take the time, but I think that radio shows are a great way to, have a one specific place you can go to find, new stuff, or, get your stuff played if you're a local band or something like that. It's an indicator of like what people enjoy as well. Like when we get like I would say like Power Trip is a huge fan favorite band for our show. People call in asking for Power Trip all the time. So, and I love Power Trip, but I didn't quite realize how popular they were until I, got 3 calls in one night for Power Trip songs.
Right. Rip Riley.
Yeah,
yeah, indeed.
Yeah, Brendan and I saw them at Download, and they completely tore up the show. And
hell yeah.
I've seen Power Trip 3 times throughout their career, and yeah, they're the best.
Yeah, they were. Did you happen to go to their last show in Michigan, the High on Fire show at the Majestic?
Yes, that's the last one I saw. Man.
Yeah, it sucks. And yeah, just going off what you said about the whole fan favorite thing, like when we went to Download last year when we were studying abroad, they were on the main stage, but they were like obviously one of the earlier bands on the main stage, but like had a huge turnout and just absolutely killed it. Like best show of the day. And it was like daytime, like just tore it up.
I've never seen a more enthusiastic and like diversified crowd as when I saw Power Trip at L Club in Detroit. I think that was the second time that I saw him. I went with Spaceman from Thee Hourz and his girlfriend, and there was kids from, preteen age to, like 60-year-old dudes, and they were all like losing it. And it wasn't just, people in metal t-shirts and long hair and stuff. It was like regular looking people that were just there to go off for Power Trip because they're such a fantastic band that appeals to everybody. It's the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And L Club, that must have been a show and a half, because that can only fit like 200 people or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that
no barricade and stuff. So there was a lot of people on the stage with them.
That's sweet.
Oh, wow.
But that's what a true metal concert is right there. When you
Oh
can
yeah.
have that fan interaction like that. Yeah, not to. That was a nice little power trip tangent. I'm always down to talk about some power trip. But Bones, how do you view the role of radio in metal?
Radio is important for any music, right? Like, especially, before streaming, it's like getting your, the single from your new album on the radio is what's going to make or break whether or not anyone, whether or not you're going to make any money on it, first of all, or whether or not anyone's going to want to come see you live. But radio and metal especially is important because I feel like everyone's story of getting into metal is like, oh, someone, a friend or an older brother, someone showed me this metal. Because a lot of people don't know that they're going to like it until it's kind of shown to them. You hear some metal and you're like, whoa, that's cool. And then you look for more. And that's like what Jay was saying, like radio is like a curation. So it plays music you didn't know you wanted to hear until you hear it. And it's like, if we only have, Spotify type services where you're choosing all your music, like, yeah, you're going to be able to find what you want, but you're going to miss out on the things that you're going to like without knowing that you want them first. So like if someone tunes into Hours by accident and then hears something really groovy that they like, maybe suddenly they're a metal fan for life because they've just heard, maybe they've listened to metal before, but it wasn't their kind of metal.
Oh yeah, that's totally true because just a quick story. I started at the Impact as a DJ before I even knew what the hours were. I was like, oh, I'll turn on the station just to hear what it's about. And I so vividly remember it was The Sentinel by Judas Priest. And I was like, Jesus, like this is it right here. Like that's awesome. So that's very, very fair. Yeah, I guess last thing, we always like to end with some segments which we call Pick of the Week and Song Rec. We're not going to waste your guys' time telling us ours. We're going to get into that a little later on the episode, but I guess Lilith, I'll start with you. What is your pick of the week, which is an album, and what is your song rec?
Ooh, okay. So I know I mentioned earlier I've been really getting into Devil Driver, and their album Dealing with Demons, which came out probably a little earlier this year, but due to COVID, I did not get to listen until more recently. And my song is going to be You Give Me a Reason to Drink, because why not? It's been a rough year, so
absolutely.
It's just a very catchy song. It's got a nice groove into it that is easy to headbang to. So great for driving if you don't want to know how fast you're going on the highway.
There we go. Yeah, Devil Driver's a good modern groove band, I would say. Of course, Dez from that band was in Cold Chamber back in the day, so they've got some groove influences there. So I'm definitely going to check out a song with a title like that. So thank you for that. Hellspawn, what's your pick of the week and song rec?
All right, I got this record here. This is Disembowelment's Transcendence into the Peripheral. It's a 1993 Death Doom album. They're Disembowelment's from Australia. It's probably my favorite metal album. I would say it's just the song I'd recommend is called Cerulean Transience of All My Imagined Shores, which is like a nice ridiculous metal song title. I love that. But I think my favorite thing about this group and what makes them so great, like they're obviously super heavy and dark kind of band, being a death doom group, but they have a really extensive thank you list of groups that they like in the liner notes, and none of them are metal bands. Really? It's all like you got Cocteau Twins in there, a great goth sort of group, Brian Eno, ambient, Harold Budd, same sort of vibe there, Enya, new age music, Dead Can Dance, and I like all sorts of stuff like that, and I love that a metal band going that far back was not afraid to defy the being labeled posers or something for saying that they liked Enya.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is the most metal thing you can do right there, is admit to a guilty pleasure like that. So that's good. You said that's your favorite metal album of all time?
I think that's got to be the one that I come back to the most, just because it's got a lot of elements that I like. It's got really hard death metal parts, but then also really beautiful orchestrated kind of clean bits that are, kind of ambient music influenced.
All right. Yeah, I'm definitely going to want to check that out then
Yeah.
if you're so highly recommending it. So thank you for that. Always looking for some new music like that. Bones, pick of the week and song rec.
Well, as I've said before, mine's not going to be as underground, so a lot of people, especially if they're watching this, may have already heard it. But I would definitely say Megadeth's first album, "Killing Is My Business," and "Business Is Good," especially because I love just like the story behind that. It's like, Mustaine like just split from Metallica. He's like trying to get back at him. And I saw this just recently. Like, I've listened to this album so many times, and I just saw this in like a YouTube video or something where their bassist Dave Ellison's talking about it. And apparently, a lot of their songs were going to be a lot slower. And a fan who had seen them live like wrote them a letter, and it said, "Your new shit better be faster than Metallica." So they rushed back in the studio and they just like cranked up the speed on all these songs. And so you have like I play bass, and I know a lot of Megadeth songs. I can barely play anything from that album because they're just so insanely fast and tight, and it's just like the thrashiest stuff. And I would say my song recommendation from that album would be "Rattlehead," because like that's one of the songs where the rhythm guitar is harder than most solos. Like it's insanely fast. It's really complicated, but you still headbang to it real easy.
Yeah, and it's one of those songs that like promotes headbanging.
Yeah.
They mentioned that in the song, which is obvious.
Yeah, it's just like about headbanging.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Yeah, I guess that's all we had for you guys. Just want to say thank you so much for joining us, being our first guest here on the Metal Pod. For those watching at home, you can tune in to the Hours of Power Thursdays from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. It's always a good time. Poured myself a little drink and listened to the last episode. It's always a good time.
Yeah, Brennan and I have definitely done that a couple times and hung out and just had a great time. So yeah, it was nice meeting everyone.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Of course, guys. Thank you so much.
Top 5 bands to listen to in the car. In no particular order. Slipknot, Lamb of God, the best group metal band of all time. Korn, Elysian Blaze, Marilyn Manson. I guess I'll just say my reason.
Right.
My
I
reason.
was about to ask you. Yeah.
Slipknot because they bang. You can play them loud.
You can scream in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with Marilyn Manson. I scream in the car to him.
Oh yeah.
Lamb of God because they're chuggy guitar riffs. Elysian Blaze, we've talked about many times. We don't like them that much. I like them for night drives. That's my night driving artist. It's like
That's fair.
I can put this on and not think about it, and it'll put me in a mood, make me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Korn is a nostalgic band for me in terms of
Absolutely.
cars. The first time I heard a Korn song was in the car, my buddy's car,
Mm-hmm.
and that was in high school.
And the bass probably just hit you like a brick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was the first one of our friends that could drive, so he
yeah.
always drove us around, and it was always Korn. So
Same here.
just
yeah.
good memories. Oh, really?
Yeah, I was the first one to drive, and I made all my friends listen to metal.
Yeah,
'cause,
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, what you got?
Yeah, just want to say I don't disagree with any of your picks. I don't have any of the same in my 5, and I think we did it for different reasons. I did it based on not lyrical content, kind of lyrical content of like, I'll just say them and try to explain.
Okay.
At 5, Fu Manchu. You ever heard of them?
I've not listened.
They're like a stoner metal band. Pretty much every album is like, I don't know about every. I don't listen to them all that much, but every album is like a concept album of like just driving in a car, having a good time kind of thing.
Oh.
So like King of the Road is the prime example.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, they're just a good driving band.
Okay.
Number 4, Deftones. They've got some driving inspired songs, especially on their earlier albums. And those early albums go hard, especially in a car when you have a good sound system. Number 3, Metallica.
Yeah.
Obviously got some Wherever I May Roam is like...
Good. It'll pump you up.
Yeah.
Metallica will pump you up in the car.
Yeah. It's like an anthem for being out there. Number 2, Motorhead. It's in the name.
Right.
Like a motor, It's just loud, aggressive, in your face, heavy metal. I mean...
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And number 1, Judas Priest.
Hmm.
They make me want to buy a motorcycle. Like I'm going to own a motorcycle someday, and Judas Priest is a huge part of that, because they're, I mean, I don't know if you've seen performances of them live, but it's Halford's like signature stage move. He always rides in on a Harley right before free wheel burning.
He rides in on stage on a Harley?
On a Harley, yeah.
Just like on stage.
Yeah, it's sick as Yeah, it's so dope.
I didn't know that. That's
yeah,
really cool.
and they've got many like car and motorcycle themed songs.
They're British though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, obviously everyone wants to ride a motorcycle, right? Like own one.
Oh, yeah.
But it's so dangerous.
Exactly, it's metal.
That's not what metal's about.
Absolutely.
I would definitely consider buying a motorcycle, but I feel like I would crash and hurt myself. So
yeah,
4 wheels for me.
Absolutely. And yeah, if I'm gonna go on a road trip, and if I had to pick one artist to listen to on a road trip, it's Priest. So yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Pick of the week. We decided on albums or an album or a song that is radio friendly, that's also metal.
Yeah.
I chose a song.
Okay.
My song was Master of Puppets.
That's fair.
Because Metallica is probably the #1 radio band.
Radio metal band. For sure.
Metal band.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a prime example of when you think of radio songs, you think 3 minutes, 4 minutes tops kind of thing, but that's like an 8-minute song.
Right.
And it's still a radio staple. So you know it's a classic.
Yep.
I kind of did something different. My pick of the week is actually the new AC/DC album, just for the hell of it. I have to admit, it wasn't the best, but I should say I'm a diehard old school AC/DC fan.
Okay.
The new singer, Brian Johnson, by new, he's been in the band for 40 years, but he's not their original singer.
Right.
Bon Scott died. The Bon Scott era is the AC/DC that is... That era is like one of my all-time favorite bands still. And the reason I picked this is because it could be their last album. Oh,
wow.
Yeah. Their last album was supposed to be their last album, but...
Bands always say that.
Yeah, but this one, Angus Young, of course, their lead guitarist, one of the best of all time. His brother, Malcolm, was the rhythm guitar player. He died a couple years ago, so this one was in honor of him. It's looking like it very well could be their last album, so just want to throw that out there. If you're an AC/DC fan, you'll probably enjoy it. Like I said, wasn't a huge fan, but I'm not a huge Brian Johnson fan. But either way, it was solid listen. So
check it out.
Yep.
Trivia. Did you peek at my phone?
I did not. Did you peek at my paper?
I can't even read upside down.
Neither can I.
Off of Stone Sour being Corey Taylor's alternate band, hard rock, would you say?
Yeah.
Hard rock band?
They've got some heavy stuff at times.
Also some soft stuff.
Yeah.
Off of their album, Come Whatever May, the first track is titled 30-30-150.
Yeah.
What does that name signify? 30-30-150.
I don't know.
Yeah, no guess.
30-30-150.
It's your guy, Corey Taylor. Your favorite vocalist of all time.
Because of Slipknot, not because of Stone Sour.
Well, you like Stone Sour.
I like him, not as much as you do, but...
Yeah, that's true. Why don't you like him as much? Like, is there any reason you just don't...
Because they're not as heavy. I mean...
Yeah, but they're not supposed to be. They're a
I know.
rock band that sings ballads sometimes.
Right, and that's like his creative outlet, like, for the soft stuff, which is fine. And I respect him. I do. I like Stone Sour
I feel
a
like
lot.
you have a chip on your shoulder about Stone Sour because of Slipknot. Is this a fair statement?
I guess. Oh, it is worth noting, though, before I try to make an attempt at whatever the hell that is, but Corey Taylor is the only guy to have 3 separate... So his solo, Stone Sour and Slipknot, the only artist to have 3 different projects have a #1 song, #1 radio song, something like that. There's some weird stat like that. I thought that was pretty cool. So
sweet. Is that your answer?
Yeah. No, dude, I have no idea. But 30-30-150. Yeah, 30-30-150 remembers is a lyric, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means.
So 30-30 was his jean size in high school, and he weighed 150 pounds. And that song is a throwback to when people thought that he couldn't accomplish anything because he was small. And basically that song is saying, "Fuck you guys."
Huh.
That high school kid inside of me is still alive, and he remembers how you guys treated me.
Fair enough. 30, 30, 150 remembers.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
30,
pretty cool.
30, 30, 150 hates.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
Better, but a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So, yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, you got me. You got me.
What do you got?
All right. Sticking on the theme of radio.
Sure.
What city is home to the first radio station to ever play heavy metal?
What city?
Yes.
Is it in America?
Yeah. I should have said that. American city. I should have said.
What radio station?
No, just
give me
the
the
city that the radio station is in.
California? Is it in the state of California?
I can't tell you that.
I'll guess Seattle.
No. That's pretty solid, though. That's a good one. Cleveland, Ohio.
Really?
Believe it or not.
A
Yeah.
lot of good stuff comes from Cleveland.
No. Yeah, actually, I do. I was born in Cleveland, so I guess you could make that argument. Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. I hate it. That's the least favorite thing about myself. Because Ohio.
Sorry, Ohio. Not
'em.
too much good stuff comes from you. A couple of things, but
No, there's some good stuff.
not too much.
Whoever decided to put the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland can right off.
I was there this year,
Nice.
over the summer. We didn't go in.
Right.
We walked around it.
Yeah. But yeah, this is kind of, I mean, it's debated, obviously, because who the hell is going to know
Right.
what the first, but in terms of classic rock radio, like a classic rock radio format, Cleveland, I don't even remember what the station was, but that station was the first to brand themselves as a classic rock radio station, and then obviously that caught on pretty quick. So, and yeah,
Interesting.
and I'm wearing this Rush shirt, so it's fair to say Cleveland is kind of the city that, Cleveland and Michigan overall, but Cleveland more so, got Rush kind of on the American map because they're from Canada, obviously. They played their first album, and people just went nuts for it, and that's kind of how Rush got big in America. So, and another funny tidbit, Rush played their first American concert in East Lansing, Michigan.
Wow.
Yeah, at some drive-in movie theater that I think is closed now. But,
Oh, dope.
yeah,
Maybe we should track that down.
yeah, I've been meaning to. I just always forgot about it. So yeah,
Dope.
that would be cool.
Coolio.
Yes, sir.
1 hot minute.
Yep.
Mine will be sweet and short.
Nice.
Bands don't need to be on the radio to be great.
Absolutely.
Some of the best bands don't end up on the radio because they can't be.
Right.
I guess that's about it. I mean, the radio, the way I look at the radio is it's just a platform to share stuff, obviously. But, you know, there's a lot of litigation that comes with that.
Oh, absolutely.
Red tape, censorship,
Censorship, yeah.
all that stuff. Like, basically, if you can be the face of a band that will make money and set an example for other bands or artists, you'll probably end up on the radio.
Mhm.
If you do stuff that the FCC doesn't like, you will not be on the radio.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
And it kind of depends what radio you're talking about, because I mean now there's satellite radio, so like Sirius XM stuff.
Yeah,
they can
that's
play.
totally different.
Right. I get what you're saying though, absolutely. And as we brought up last week, Lamb of God, you don't hear them on the radio all that often, but they're obviously one of the best modern bands. So.
The streaming platforms have really changed the landscape of
Oh,
radio.
absolutely.
And it will continue to, as long as technology progresses in that direction.
Right.
But
and us being radio guys, it's kind of weird, but
it is.
If I was born like 20 years earlier, I would like want to go into radio. I always tell everybody that when they ask me like what do I want to do, I still don't know. Like if it was up to me, I would be in radio, but it's a changing industry.
Yeah.
Obviously, so
You work for RCA. They still do radio stuff.
RCA.
Yeah, the electronics company.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the radio still exists and it's
No,
still
yeah.
alive, but yeah, like you said, it's changing.
Yes. And we will see if that is for better or worse.
Right.
But yeah. Mine kind of my 1 Hot Minute kind of goes along with that. You know, I guess the best way to explain this, one of my roommates, he listens to the same song by the same artist. Like, he'll listen to the same Rob Zombie song over and over again. He'll listen
Matt?
to the same...
Is that his name?
No, Josh.
Josh, that's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Josh.
No, that's fine. And I'm kind of throwing him under the bus right now, but he doesn't watch this podcast anyway, so f*** him. Like, that just ruins it to me. If you listen to the same song, but if I, like, my favorite Pantera song, obviously, is, like, Strength Beyond Strength. As an example. I can't pick a favorite Pantera song,
Right.
but as an example. If I listen to that over and over again, it's going to be ruined. I don't know how the kid listens to
What Rob Zombie song is it?
Living Dead Girl. Like, dude, I know.
That one's already overplayed.
I know, that's the...
I can't listen to that one that much because it's just I heard it so many times.
Exactly.
So he ruined that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. and I'm trying to tell him, dude, he has so many better songs. Like, just...
Fall on me.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Pretty good
it's
one.
a great song, obviously. And I'm not... That's the thing. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Just because the radio or whatever overplays a song, it kind of ruins it to an extent. Like,
Yeah, I would agree.
I've heard Enter Sandman
Too many times.
way too many times, but it's such a great song.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that because it's played so much.
Right.
And they hear it so often. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of put that out there.
Is that the only song he listens to by Rob Zombie? Pretty much. Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, he's got a few in the rotation, but like...
mostly it's that.
It's like the same 5 I hear all the time.
Probably that, More Human Than Human,
Yeah.
Supercharger Heaven.
And like Megadeth is another one. He's like, dude, Megadeth is like my favorite metal band. And it's literally the same 3 songs.
Peace Sells.
No, it's everything from Rust in Peace, because that's the album I showed him, which
Oh.
is fine. That's their best album in my opinion, my favorite album by them. But anyways, yeah, just everyone just dig deeper, all right? Like there's more to the artist than their hits. Okay?
Go for the sleepers in the album.
Oh yeah,
The ones that you didn't think that you'd like on the first try, give them a second chance.
absolutely, and those end up being some of my favorites. You know?
Yeah, the sleepers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's all I got.
Cool. Song rec. Okay. So next week we will not be having a Metal Pod episode air.
We'll be taking a break for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So.
So everyone stay safe, enjoy the holidays. We'll come back with another guest episode.
Yep.
Trent Bally, the sports editor at Impact. One of the biggest Motley Crue fans that I know. And in honor of that, we're going to be doing a hair metal hair bands episode.
Yes.
Brendan also loves them.
I do.
This is a topic that I'm not well versed in at all. Brendan is preparing a diagram for me and a playlist to get me up to speed, so I will not sound like an idiot. So therefore, my song rec is "Shout at the Devil" by Motley Crue,
Fair.
and the whole album is cool.
Best Motley Crue album right there. So
Yeah. They have the look, they have the attitude.
I've got the looks that kill.
Exactly. They play in drop D.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, they're just an octave down.
I don't know.
They're heavy. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Sticking on that subject of hair bands, we kind of talked about last week how Pantera was a hair band before.
Sadly.
Yes. Hey,
Unfortunately.
there's some bangers in there, and my song rec is one of those bangers.
Ride My Rocket?
No,
What is it?
not that one. It is from Power Metal, which is Phil's first album. It was, the mecca of their hair era.
Sure.
They went straight hair after that, obviously. But from Power Metal, Proud to Be Loud is the name of the song. It's just, kick
Look
ass.
at that rhyme.
Proud to Be Loud.
Beautiful rhyme.
Yes, sir. That song's been featured in, like, Donnie Darko, who's in that movie, The Mighty Ducks, among others. It's like the most popular song from Power Metal, I'd say.
Okay.
And it's them at their... It's the heaviest hair metal around. So, just got to throw that out there.
Go and check it out.
Yes, sir.
But, yep, that's it for this episode.
Yep.
See you after the break.
Yeah, we'll be back the week after Thanksgiving, Friday after Thanksgiving, which I think is December 4th.
Yes.
Yep. In the meantime, continue to listen to Thee Hourz O Power. Big thanks to them for coming on the episode today. The Hourz is on Thursdays from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. on Impact 89 FM. So, yeah, until then, keep listening to that, and we will be back on December 4th.
You heard the man.
Hell yeah. Metal!
Never gonna get used to that.
You've been listening to The Metal Pod, a production of Impact 89 FM. Our thanks to Impact's General Manager Jeremy Whiting, Station Manager Amber Kienutsky, and Programming Director McKenna Lowndes. Tune in next time for more updates on all things metal. The Metal Pod!